about it and working on it this week, right? And it was this project that I'm really, really scared to do. I'm like, oh, it is too big. And then I get this and I'm like, oh, who got something that speaks to them? Okay. What did you get?
All that we are is a result of what we think we are.
Another one? Tabu? Oh, wow. Last one? Yeah?
I feel confident and radiant in my own skin.
And she's got a beautiful skin, doesn't she? Yeah, so please take them with you and affirm yourself. For some, it's an affirmation. For a person like me, it's just a reminder that if it scares me, then I need to do it. Without any further ado, I would like to welcome our speaker. For me, she is, we went to the same school. I was her senior. And so for me, I've always looked at her as this little cute baby. And yet she's grown into such an amazing powerhouse. A mom of 5. Yeah. Right? 5, guys, 5 biological. She put them out. Let's just start there. A mom of 5 children, wife to George. Anybody that knows George knows, oh my gosh, he will talk about pro air, and I know that they make the weather behave. Imagine how brilliant he is, how these guys are brilliant in business, to a point where you know their tagline, right? But yes, they run pro air, they're outside, so please find out more about the work that they do. But more importantly, like I said, in her own right, she's a banker by profession, and she does so many other things. But to me, I don't want to talk about the accolades that she's received and whatnot in this space. I want to talk about Lisa. As we celebrate Mother's Day, the mom, the wife, the friend, the entrepreneur, and everything in between. To think how she does it with such poise and grace, to me, is really, really amazing. I really would like to celebrate you, Lisa. Please follow her. Her children are amazing. They're getting into Zim team for gymnastics and swimming and all of those things. And I remember they started out with my kids, right? At the same, you actually reached out to me because she wanted to go and find a place for her kids to swim. And to think that years later, these kids are doing phenomenally well is really amazing. And it speaks to intentional parenting. So I don't want to be the ladies' breakfast speaker, so I will stop there. And I'll invite the real speaker to come through, Lisa Mnengwa.
Good morning, everybody. You look amazing. Please tell the person seated next to you that you're looking amazing. Please tell yourself that I'm looking amazing. You need that affirmation from yourself. Allow me to honor my sister, Sylvia Sanyanga. You know, when she brought up that she invited me to Aqua Kids, Sylvia wasn't just a prefect at school. So we were in Form 1 and Sylvia was our senior. But then when she was a senior, she just wasn't a senior. She was a sister. And you know what I mean by a sister? Somebody you could just look at and say, oh, you know what, Sis Sylvia. That's how it felt like. I don't know how it's like in school these days. But in those days, an older sister, a prefect, a senior prefect like Sylvia, really meant like, that's another mom at school, like a deputy parent you have at school.
Wow.
So before I get on to what I'm gonna talk about, I'm still gonna talk about Sylvia. So one time we were walking in town, passing barbers, I bumped into Sylvia. And then she's like, where are you taking your kids to grade 1? And I was like, you know what? Because of finances, we're going. Then she's like, no. Go and apply to convent right now. Go to convent. And I was like, the deadline passed. Then she's like, go to convent. And then I remember I told her, I can't even afford convent fees. And then she's like, no, we don't talk finances, we talk faith. I've held on to that word since that day I told you. So I did go to convent. Applications were closed. But I left my application. And they did call me for an interview, and my daughter got into convent because I met somebody who talked faith into what didn't exist in me and taught me that no, not finances. And I remember my husband saying, who's going to pay those fees? Because our firstborn kids are twins. So we're talking 2 private schools at the same time. And but Sylvia just said, you know what, go. And then I called her and I was like, they said my child needs to be able to swim a week. And they both don't know how to swim. She gave me a contact. She gave me swimming coaches. I started taking my kids to Aqua Kids. And I'm proud to say, you know what, I just don't have swimmers, I have champions.
Amen.
They wouldn't have been what they are today had I not met Sylvia on the day. Had she not spoken faith to me, I wouldn't have gone to look for a place because I wasn't thinking big. I was just thinking, small. And she said, no, finances are not the things that we talk about. We talk of faith. When you take the kids to the school, finances will follow. And those kids are in Form 3 now. Every term it's a testimony of faith, how we manage to pay fees. Because I've learned to trust God. I've learned to put my faith like what you taught me. So help me honor Sylvia, the ladies' breakfast. She has organized this for 7 years. She has organized a platform for women. A place where you can be yourself, a place where you can go and learn, a place where you can interact with other women in different spheres. And this is a safe space for us, a safe space for you and me. Thank you for the call and for answering that call to gather women like this every month. I'm really humbled to stand in front of all of you. A few days ago, I was getting calls. Can I come? I don't have a child. I'm not a mom. Do you think I can come? So I'm going to start by defining that for you. Going back to our African culture, I know everybody, somehow you have a tete. Does everyone have a tete somewhere? Yes. Okay, so before your biological kids, you've got tete's kids. So already you're a mom from tete's side. Do we have sisters? Okay, so your sister's kids, you're a mom coming from there as well. Okay, not even your own sisters, like your mom's sister's daughter is your sister as well. Your sister's kids, like your cousin's kids, you are a mom as well. So I want to answer those people that said, can I come if I don't have kids? You also have just your friends. When you have friends for a long time, those kids end up calling you auntie, auntie. So if you are to go to a function and your friend's child, and your child is there, but you are not there, but Auntie Nili is there, guess what? Your child can approach Auntie. Auntie, I lost my ticket. Can you buy me ice cream? You're going to buy not because you've got money, but because you are the mama present in the absence of another mother. And then I'm going to go again to talk of a spiritual side. When we baptize our children, you bring a godmother, a godfather. And what are the duties of a godmother? To raise that child. If their parents are not able to pay fees, You are supposed to pay those fees. If the parents are not mentoring that child in a godly way, you are supposed to teach that child the things of the Lord. So, do I have a child? Yes. It's not only your biological children. It's not only your sister's children. It goes. It's a long list of how you are a mom. And when we look at kids, you know, when you have a little baby, they want to play with dolls. I wasn't a doll person. I like to play with boy stuff. I think I had a friend, a boy, when we grew up in Chegutu. I didn't play with dolls. So I had to teach myself that, okay, I have kids. My little kids love playing with dolls. So I had to teach myself I need to buy things that are not me, because they love dolls. They love being mom, to carry babies on their back, to do all of these mommy things. How do we learn to be a mom? Nobody was born a mom. But the moment when you are born, like I'm telling you about my little kids, they start to play with the babies, with the little dolls. They can even name these dolls. I didn't play with dolls, but you know what God does? My sister had a baby when I was in grade 1. So I didn't have dolls. I stopped playing with boys and the toys for boys. I started playing with my sister's baby because my sister said, right, I have a baby, but you are my sister. You are my nini to this baby. So you are a mom to Nyasha. So automatically, I was mom. I needed to be responsible for the little baby at home because this baby was my baby. And my sister didn't stay with the baby, so this baby was my baby. And she gave me the honor of naming her daughter. So she said, my name, what name can we give her? So I named her Nyasha. And I've seen God's face. Nyasha, can you stand up? So I became a mom, a real mom, in grade 1. So I started to understand that this one is mine. Yeah. This child is mine. And then when I was in grade 6, she had a second baby. And then now we stayed in Harare and my sister stayed in Chegutu. I knew every Friday I needed to get onto the bus, go to Chegutu, spend the weekend, and I used to laugh at my sister to say, you know what, you were living a grade 6 with your baby, to take care of your baby whilst you went with your friend. But why would you do that? Because you know what, you're starting to teach these little sisters, you're starting to teach your children how to be mothers without telling them that, you know what, today you're sitting here, this is a maths homework of 1 + 1 = 2. So motherhood journey doesn't come from the maths lessons like that. It doesn't come with a manual to say, right, this is how we do it. It just comes from how when we are being raised. How when you go to your cousin's place, you're taking care of your little cousins. How when you go anywhere, and then your mom's sister or your teta will be like, can you look after the baby? And you'll be like, yeah, I can. And then that's how everybody learns. We learn from the environment we're at. We learn from home. We learn from our upbringing. And then by the time you're a mom, you're kind of imitating what you saw. And then now you're teaching yourself that, I can't be like this because it's not good. Or I want to be like this because this is what I saw. How are we going on the motherhood journey? Hello, mommies. So what I like about motherhood, I don't know how God did it. But, you know, when he made us moms, when he said these women, you know, we have a special part on when it comes to God because we recreate. Because we are given the special assignments that men were not given. Imagine that. This assignment, no guy has it. No matter what, no guy can be able to understand what motherhood is. But here we are. you have a baby. There is no manual to say, right, when the baby cries, do A, B, C, D. So if it's you and the baby, you kind of figure it out when she's crying or when he's crying. Maybe it's a diaper, or maybe it's this, or maybe they're too hot, or maybe they're too, you're trying to figure out what somebody else did may not work for you. But every day is a learning process. Whether you've had the first child or whether this is the second, it's a different thing for every child. So here we come, we have a baby, but there is no manual. What are we gonna do? The baby is here. You can call people around you, but then there's certain things that those people are also not able to help. But what I also like about it is we are not alone, because I'm gonna go back to the Bible. I'm also a minister of the word. I'm a family and marriage therapist. So I also like to speak to people about families. I also like to speak to people about their marriages. I also like to speak to people even just about themselves. I'm going to go back to the Bible, because alone we're not able to walk in this journey. So allow me to go back to our Creator, the one who's made us to be the women that we are today, the one who's given us this job, because we are only custodians. I'm only a custodian. When God blesses us and gives us children, whether they are ours, whether they are our friends, whether they are biologically like you've adopted, or whether they are a relative's child, as long as that child is in your care, you are a custodian. And when you're a custodian, it means that child belongs to somebody. When we go back to the story of Hannah, I like that story of Hannah, because for Hannah, she got to a point of understanding that the child was not coming from Elkanah, her husband. So Hannah had been married to her husband, and Hannah did not have children. But Hannah's husband had another wife, Peninnah. But Peninnah had a lot of children. So it means Elkanah could have children with Peninnah, but Elkanah was not having children with Hannah. So it needed a special type of hearing from God. The person that is giving people these gifts, what am I supposed to do to be able to walk in this journey of motherhood? So I like Hannah, because Hannah got to a point of understanding that my answer is not with Elkanah. My answer is not with people. My answer to the journey of motherhood is with God. What do I do? Let me go back to the house of God. So Hannah separated herself away. There are times when you're in situations and you're thinking, what can I do? Can I call Auntie Ningi for help? But then you get to a point where there's nobody to help you. Even in this journey of motherhood, you get to a point of saying, I can't do it. It's hard. Can I call somebody? You're realizing that, okay, you can't. Everybody around you is not able to help you with the situation you're in, but you need to go back to the Maker. So I like Hannah, because Hannah knew she could not do it. Elkanah could not give her a child. She needed to have a special type of a relationship with God. And Hannah went to the house of the Lord. So I'm also here to speak as myself, to say there are certain assignments that I was given. God can give you an assignment. And then you need to understand, what's my assignment? As a mom, as a sister, as a cousin, as a tete, what's my assignment? Even as a friend, what's my assignment? Is it just for us to talk? No. Is it just for us to drive children to school and back? No. What's our assignment? So when we become mothers, in whichever way we become mothers, we have a certain assignment God gives us. But we need to unlock that assignment. We need to be able to understand that what is it that God wants from us. So for Hannah, I loved it because she caught on. When her husband said, Hannah, why are you going away? What is it that I can't give you? I can give you a double portion of the offering. She got to a place of saying, no. Even if my husband can provide everything, I want to understand my assignment. I want to have a relationship with the Maker. I want to go back to the person that gives people children, the person that can make me a custodian. So I like that part of Hannah going back to the house of God. So even as we are here, I want you to ask yourself, what is my assignment? Part of your assignment is this, Sis Sylvia. This is your assignment. And you're walking in your destiny. As long as you do this, you're walking in your destiny. So according to today, God has ticked, assignment done. Because you are doing what God has allowed you to do and has sent you here on earth to do. You know, so many things I've spoken to her that have moved me to understand, okay, so people have different assignments. My assignment is not your assignment. Her assignment is not my assignment. But how do we get to know these assignments? We can only get to know them by us having a relationship with God. But by us separating ourselves to say, you know what, I want to hear this assignment from God. Are we still here?
Yes.
Okay, so I have 5 children. The first of my firstborns are they're twins. So, you know, I was young. I was 21 when I had twins. I just remembered that it was hard for me to give somebody one of the twins. I would rather keep them together. I was on leave for 5 months, nearly 6 months. So the only person I could give, yes, my sister I could give her, my husband I could give him, but when people visit and say, can we hold the baby? I just felt like, they might drop the child. So I needed to start teaching myself that no, I should be able to allow people also, you know, to enjoy these gifts. So can we also allow people to enjoy the gifts that we have? So still on that assignment, I'm going to touch on Mary, the mother of Jesus. You know, when you are given the assignment, sometimes your assignment is, you know what, you have a rugby player, but you don't know that you have a rugby player. And then you are like me, and then I meet Sylvia in the road when we were walking. And then what does she say? Go and apply here. And I have no idea that that's where my scholarship is going to be at. I have no idea. But how does God design it? He designs it in such a way that you meet this person. You meet this person. And as you are walking, I don't want you to walk blindly.
Yes.
Every day when you wake up, God, if I'm meeting my destiny helper, if I'm meeting the person in my destiny, can I not be blind? Can my eyes be open? Can I be able to see where you want me to go? So I thank God my eyes were open when I met you. I thank God I left that meeting with carrying faith. Something that money can't buy, something that I carry and I use everywhere that I go. That no, it's not the currency that is needed to pay for things, but it is my faith that I need to place in order for me to get certain things. So when we talk of understanding also on that assignment, you know, Mary, the mother of Jesus. When I'm giving these examples, I don't want them to be Bible stories. I want them to be our stories. I want you to think like Hannah. I want you to think like Mary. I want you to think like Elizabeth. I want you to think like Esther. I want us to come out a different woman, you know? As we're celebrating mothers, I want us to feel ignited, something in us to be able to speak wherever we are, to say, you know what, I'm an Esther of my generation. You know what, I'm a Mary of my generation. So when I talk of Mary, Mary had an assignment. She didn't know she carried an assignment until an angel visited her. So when Mary was carrying this assignment, there came a time when Mary could understand that, you know what, I'm in danger. As long as I stay here, I'll be killed. If I stay here, people are following me because of what I'm carrying. So how about the challenges that we face because we are mothers? How about those challenges that we face because, you know what? There's something big about to happen in your child's life, and then comes something, you know? We're carrying things because we are mothers, because we birth, we protect. You know what a hen does with the little chicks? Cover them with the wings. That's how we are, you know? We program, we pray, we protect. So Mary is feeling something is not right here. And what does Mary do? She changes the environment. So she was in an environment where she was not safe. And then she went to where Elizabeth was. And the Bible says when Mary and Elizabeth met, their babies started to dance, you know? They connected because of their callings. You're supposed to feel like that when you're around certain women. To say, I grow when I'm around this person. When I leave my children in her care, they are coming back changed. That attitude my child had, as long as she goes there, she comes back a different person. When she goes to Tetemingi, you know, we should be the safe space to say when people bring their children to us, we should be the safe space. When people come to us, they should say something ignited in me when I saw you. Something happened when I saw you. So just imagine this meeting of Mary and Elizabeth. Imagine these two powerful women carrying great destinies, coming together to change the things around. So how is our environment that we are raising our children? Are they safe in that environment? I'm not saying take your children and send them to space. I'm just saying check how they are, how we are raising them. Check, are they safe? You don't need to send your children where they're not safe. You don't need to do that. You need to always make sure you protect that which you're carrying or that which you carried, that gift. The gift is inside. The gift can't be seen. Sometimes when they're 4 years or Form 6, you probably don't know what they're carrying. It's like us as adults. I can start studying to be a nurse, you know? And then people will be like, oh, you're called to be a nurse. You're called to be a nurse. But all along, this was hidden from me. This was hidden from everybody around me. But something happened when I was in my late 30s. I started to realize, no, this is it. This is what I'm called for. So as we are raising our children, I want us to ask ourselves, are we in a safe space? Are we teaching our children? Remember, we're just custodians. And as custodians, there is a manual, the Bible, the things that we're supposed to teach our children, the ways that they're supposed to grow. So that when they grow up, they don't depart from these ways. Are we putting our children in a safe space? Are we in a safe space? Because if we are destroyed, they are not safe as well. So I want us to ask ourselves, even as we live here, to say, how is our environment? How are the spaces that we're at? How are we doing it with our children? And it doesn't mean that if your friend's child is very well behaved, then you are doing something wrong. Remember I said children are different. And even if the Bible is saying this, you're praying, you're doing everything, but God can also test you. He can test you with those same children. It doesn't mean that if you have a child who's not listening, it means that no, you are doing something wrong with the Lord. It doesn't mean that. And it also doesn't mean that if your child is very well behaved, it means, oh, you are the best. You've done everything by the book. No. Because even if we apply certain things, they can work for this child and they may not work for that child. So when it comes back to me, I have 5 children. They're all different personalities. But I've also been intentional about how I want, ever since I've chosen, from when I met you, I've chosen where I want to take them. But I've also been very intentional about being very present Understanding that a present parent can change a whole lot in a child. Even if your child is a gift, that gift can also be ignited by seeing mom in the crowd. And when the friends say, your mom is crazy, they'll get to really realize that, what, doesn't matter what my friends say, but I love hearing my mom's voice. I was touched the other time I went to a funeral. This boy is in Form 6 now, so it was last year. His mom passed away. And on his speech, when he was talking about his mom, he said, when mom used to scream when I was swimming, I used to be like, can she just keep quiet? And I told my mom, I can't even hear you, so don't worry about screaming. But I could hear her when I was swimming. He said I could hear her, but I just lied to her that I can't hear you, so don't worry. And that day he cried. He said, I would do anything to hear my mom scream my name. Even if at her lowest voice, I would just want to hear that sound. So what we are doing now, these are deposits that our children will carry. My mom she was full-time at work, but when she was present, I carry those memories because she's late. I carry those memories with me. Even the time when I was grown, a payday should get my kids, go buy yogurt. To say, it's Gogo's payday. So Gogo's payday was marked with those yogurts. So I carry that with me to understand that, it just doesn't end with me. It goes generations to generations. So whatever we are planting today is not for you and me. It's not for our children. It's for what they're going to do with their children's children. It's for what they're going to do with their cousins. It's for what they're going to do even anywhere that they go. They're going to carry these values of understanding a present parent, of understanding to be intentional about things that they are doing. If a teacher is saying, we're doing this is homework, understanding that I'm being intentional about being present to teach my child. Even if the teacher says they are done and this is the homework, to understand what's the homework. I know we're busy, but just to find time here and there to understand what are they learning. And with the new syllabus now, it's probably stuff we all don't know. But find out, are they understanding? If they're not understanding, how best can we help? Because life is not like we were back in the day where we would say everything can just end in school. Now we need to help the schools. We talk of drug abuse now. We can't say, this school, they're doing drugs. Those same kids are coming from a community. They're coming from an environment where these mothers are there. And you'll be like, but his mom is a very church-going person. What happened? It's not about that. It's not. Because every space isn't as safe as it were back in the day. So we need to be very intentional. If we're going to be leaving our children in certain spaces, if they're going to be safe, if it's a party, we need to be intentional. What is happening there? Is your child safe there? So I've been very intentional about going to sports days, about being present. Even if it's in Bulawayo, I've made a decision to say, if I'm not busy at work, if my husband is not busy, he can join me. But you will say, if you are there, it's okay. If it's free, I will join you. So we can be both of us just to give the extra shout. And that shout has given our children confidence amongst other children. And also, when I had the twins, I was also very intentional about what people say about my children. So here we have 4-year-olds, and people are commenting, the girl, she's clever than the boy. The boy is going to be asking the sister for answers. This is our society. The boy is short. This is our society. These are people around us. Their words can define futures for us, define futures for our children. I was very intentional about telling people, I don't like it. These are two different individuals. Them being twins doesn't mean that they are like everything the same.
Yes.
They are different individuals. So came along grade 1. Now the kids are in different schools. Oh, I'm getting calls. Oh, that's such a bad thing. Twins don't need to be separated. Oh, they're going to suffer at school because one will be thinking of the other. And then I was like, okay, even if I put them in the same school, a school that knows well about kids does not put them in the same class. They would separate them anyway. So I was like, no, they are fine. She'll do whatever she does here. And guess what? These are brother and sister schools. Then came sports day. Athletics. He makes it into the team. She makes it into the team. We're going to the same place. Then came swimming. She makes it into the team. He makes it into the team. So we're practically going to the same places where they're not being compared, where they're both going to show and showcase their talents as her and as him. When we got to grade 7, she was made a prefect. And at Hartman House, George was also made a prefect. And then they went to grow in their own spaces. They went to bloom in their own spaces. I didn't want them to be in one space and then they'll be like, oh, we just made the sister prefect because we didn't want to separate them. So we just said, since this one's the prefect. So they'll grow up thinking, that was a favor for me to be a prefect. It wasn't a favor because you already carried the leadership qualities in you. How are we going to ignite certain things about our children? We need to be very intentional to understand, not to compare them, but to also understand their strength. To say, okay, can this one bloom where they are? If I want to join them, I can join them, but I've already seen them at the stage they're at in Form 3. I've already seen their strength. They've already chosen what they want. They play different sports now. They've chosen what they want, and it's working well. When she doesn't know, oh, my twin is here, Google stand up. So when she doesn't know things, she can ask her brother. With the way that the topic was introduced, when he doesn't know, he can ask his sister. So they're each other's partners also in studying. So for us, this is what we did. I'm not saying this is what will work for your twins. It will work differently for every child. I just wanted to put them into a space where they can bloom differently, where I can see each of them their strength. And then came along the next boy. He's the deputy head boy now. Not because the brother was a prefect, but also because he's also worked hard in his own areas. And we've also been very intentional about being very present parents to support our children, to say, okay, what does he like? How can we help? And it doesn't mean that all children should be sporty. Some are very good in singing. If they're good singers, how can they get help? Okay, even if we can't afford to go pay for music lessons elsewhere, choir at church, those people know how to teach. My mom was a choir mistress. I remember just sitting there, and then we went somewhere for competitions and they won. So it didn't mean that she was a teacher for music or alone. So I'm saying find out how you can get help. If he's very good in maths and you find out, there's a maths teacher who can help you, go and do that. Go and get help. Be intentional about being very present for your children. And at the same time, be very intentional also even about the things and the friends that they're going to hang around with, because they are going to shape your children's future. So your friends tell you, nah, you guys go to church. Nah, no. That's going against your values. At the same time, you cannot choose friends for them to say, hey, this one. But you can only tell them in a certain way. You can only also pray for them. Because at the end of the day, they're spending a lot of time at school. So we talk to them, we teach them, and we also pray for them, and also ask them to pray, to choose the right friends. Because those wrong friends can put our children away. And then when it also comes us to just us, like how we are going to be, even with other people's children. They should feel free to come. Your child should be free to come to me and say, you know what, I need help with my meds. And I mustn't feel like, so their mom is not serious, huh? It mustn't be like that. If we were calling each other mothers and saying, you know what, everybody is a mom, let's be like that. If you're an older sister, how are you like with your siblings? How are you like, even to the older sisters that you have, how are you like? But I'm very blessed because my older sister is here. My Nyasha. And my Nyasha's children, to my children, they are not cousins. They are sisters. And when my kids tell you how much they're missing these sisters, it's really coming from their heart to say, I'm missing my sister, not I'm missing my cousin. This is how we need to be intentional. This is how we need to do our things, to say, okay, if the manual says we need to teach our children about the Bible, and I'm not really doing well, there's times when you're not well, like not emotionally okay, you're going through a lot. How best can you do it? Okay, let me make sure I take them to Sunday school. Because somebody in Sunday school is able to speak to your child in a way that you can't speak to. Because you are down, you are not okay, right? Even if you're okay, there are other spaces that will make your children be okay. Just by them being around those spaces, they're getting lessons that you don't know everything. I don't know everything. Every day is a learning curve for me. Every day I'm learning, my motherhood is being tested here. And what do? We're constantly learning. But it's about us being intentional about the spaces that we want to put our children in, about the spaces that we want to spend our time with. I want us, when we leave here, to just ask ourselves, how is the environment that I'm in? How is the environment that my children are in? Is that a safe space to say they are growing in terms of how we are supposed to nurture them according to the manual, the Bible? And also, when we remember, this same manual is not like a TV manual. When your TV is not working, we found the electrician. The electrician will be like, sorry, that TV is bust. Those parts are chawanike. And what do? You get rid of the TV. But this is a child we're talking about. Can we get rid of the children? No. What do? There isn't a space to say, if they're going to answer you in this way, now you act like this. It's not like that. And even if people tell you, right, she's doing that to you. It might not work. It might not work. So we constantly need to ask for the grace. We constantly need to go back to God to say, God, you know what? That assignment, what am I supposed to do? Please tell me, I'm still at stage 1. Doesn't matter if I have 5 kids. I can have 5 kids and still be about to step onto stage 1. I'm about to be in that journey where God has really assigned me to be. And still go back to God and say, God, I'm in stage 1. Help me to grow in this journey. Help me to be able to understand. Help me to be able to do the things, the assignments that you've told me upon my children. Help me, because every day it's a grace period. Every day grace has to speak for us. Every day, when the children go to school, it's about grace. We're not there. People get calls, your child died. It's not because we're very careful parents, because we want to know everything about our children, so our children are the safest. No, it doesn't happen like that. A few days ago, I was reading about a woman who lost 3 kids at the same time, lightning, 3 boys. So it's not because we're clever, but every day we constantly need to ask for the grace of God, to say, God, protect our children. Give us the grace every day, every day. Help our children. Help them to understand. Because the teacher can teach, but now it's God who will be able to help your children to understand where they are not able to understand. That's us praying praying for wisdom. Teaching our children to pray for these things, to pray for themselves. To pray for themselves, pray for wisdom. To pray to understand. To pray to be how God wants them to be. So as I'm here today, I'm also here to learn with you. I'm also here to walk this motherhood journey with you as my fellow sisters, as my fellow mothers, as my fellow aunts, my fellow moms around. Everybody is my mom here. I can call, we can have my friend's mom. Mama Taure, she's here. Mama, I can call her Mama, right? If she's here, like my friend's mom, Mama Taure. And then I have my best friend's mom, Mama Samantha. Every time I see her, it doesn't mean that I'm Samantha. But if Samantha is not there, and if she's to see me, if she's hungry, if Samantha is going to get her water, if I'm there, I'm the Samantha who's there, who can step in and say, you can't wait for Samantha to come from America. To come from America to get you water. No. If I'm here, if I meet you in the shop, if you are getting things in there, even if I didn't have money, I'll buy my things tomorrow. So today, let me find out what was pressing at home. That's being a child everywhere that I go, understanding that these are not just our friends. So if we put people in our circles, their people become our people as well. So if I meet her dad, he's not supposed to say, your friend from Form 1, I saw. He relates to me like, I saw Lisa, that's how he describes me. But then it's me feeling safe around her dad. It's me feeling safe around her mom. The same way my child will feel safe around her, around Laura, around Tari, because these are the people I've put in my circle. So I need us to check, how's our circle like? Is it a circle that will protect our children? If you're not here today, check yourself. Because we don't know what will happen. But we've seen history. We've seen how people change. The moment you're not there, they'll be like, you know? In these circles, our children safe. Are they safe around the people that we call our people? Because this is not just family. This is the community that we're in, the community that we're saying we trust these people around to be at our house. I also trust them to have my child over. These are the spaces I'm talking about. So I want us to come out today asking ourselves this question. One, do I know my assignment? That's the first thing. What's my assignment? Even if you didn't know it, it's okay. You're not doing bad, you're doing well because you're here. So according to today, you are in today's meeting because of your assignment, which I don't know, but which God has given you. And I want you to go back and say, God, what is my assignment? And these assignments don't come easy. They don't come whilst you're seated and saying, oh, I'm having a good time, oh, my husband is loving me. No, they can come in spaces of pain.
Yeah.
They can come when you're saying, ish, how do I do it with such a person in my life? How do I do it when I'm alone? My sister doesn't want to talk to me. My aunt doesn't think that I'm okay to be at her house. There are people like that. They have no family. And they're asking themselves, how do I do it? This is why I'm saying, let's go back. Let's go and ask God, what is my assignment? So that's the first thing as a mother. As we are celebrating motherhood, pre-Mother's Day today, what is my assignment as a mom? Because you could be a mom called for other people also, not just your children. What is my assignment? Maybe I'm called to nurture a certain child at school because guess what? Both parents passed away, but this child needs me to step in. But if you don't understand this assignment, you'll move blindly, pass the things that you're supposed to do, And then when you get to where you're going, you'll be like, you know what, God doesn't hear me. I've been praying for years, and yet God hasn't answered this. So in part of our assignments, I don't want us to feel like, you know what, if I pray today and say, God, I want rain today. Let God give me rain today for you to be able to say God is there. I don't want us to put a condition on God. I want us to be like Elijah, to say, you know what, when we pray, even if there's a small cloud, even if there's a small breakthrough, even if it is not in line with what you wanted to say, not by end of, someone is praying today, by Tuesday I must have school fees. Guess what? Tuesday, you only have $10. And then you'll be like, but I've been praying. I want us to say, you know what, if this is the little cloud in my motherhood journey, to say my child will go to school, let me hold on to the cloud. If I'm going to speak to the headmaster and say, give me more time, I'm coming. It's okay. You're allowed. You haven't failed by doing that. But I want us to be in a space of understanding. Prayer is not, God, do it now. And He can do it now. He can do it. He can move 20 years back to today. Things you were supposed to receive in the future, they can happen today. If you are supposed to get to buy a house in 20 years and God makes a way for you to say, right, okay, grand challenge, you've won a house. And then you'll be like, I'm clever. No, God just made a way for you to have certain things. So point number one when we go, what is my assignment? As a woman, as a mom. So when I say as a woman, it's putting you under this cloud to say you're a mom, you're a sister, you're a friend, you're an aunt, you are everything in one. You are a woman, right? So what is your assignment as a woman? Point number two, go back to think. So when you think of your assignment, think of Hannah. Hannah then had a prophet, the greatest, Samuel. But she needed to unlock that by understanding her assignment first. That, I'm supposed to carry a prophet. That's why it took long. Penina had all these kids early because she wasn't carrying the prophet. So her miracles or her breakthrough came early. Mine needed me to go an extra mile. I mean, if you're going to give birth to your prophet, he has to be in prayer. Amen. So Hannah couldn't have Samuel when she was still fighting with Penina, when she was still getting extra money from Elkanah and being the princess there. No, she needed to be by herself. She needed to understand first, okay, maybe God is calling me. So God is calling us in different areas. He's calling us. He can call you to do his work in ministry. He can call you even at your workplace to say, right, people are doing A, B, C, D. You are going to go there and be the person doing the right thing. And that company is going to be changed because of you. So what is our assignment? What are we being called for? 2, how is the environment we are in? Are we safe? I want you to think of Mary and Elizabeth. To say, you know what, when I'm in the right environment, everything will flow. Even his calling, that's when you start to dream visions. That's when you start to see things that people cannot see. You start to dream visions and you'll be like, I saw this. Until you'll be like, God is speaking to me. This is the place we need to be at. To be able to know, where should I go? Right now I'm here. Should I go? Okay, I've applied for 3 jobs. I got a job everywhere. How do we know? Even if you ask me, I'll be like, just try. If it doesn't work, try the other. Because I don't know your assignment. But if you're to go back to God, you'll be like, right, leave A, take 2. So there are times when you have dreams of direction, dreams to tell you. And when you're not listening, that's when you meet someone who'll be like, Chido, I dreamt of you. But still, even if I dreamt of you, you need a confirmation from God. Because we need to be aligned to say, even if I'm going here, is this what God wants me to do? I'm being invited here. Is this where God wants me to go? That's it. So you think of those people. And then 3, ask yourself, why you in such, like in this environment? Why you? with those children? Why me with 5 children? Why? And then I want you to put an Esther to say, what if I'm called for such a time as this? What if I'm called to take my children? Let's say, like Esther, the Jews were in trouble. They wanted to be killed. So this is you. You've got destinies at play. You've got your children's destinies. But the enemy is not happy with what you are carrying. And guess what? The enemy is not going to rest. Even if you say, I'm not fighting, I'm not in the mood of fighting these days. Guess what? The enemy is not going to rest. And what will happen? Esther had to stand in and say, you know what? The Jews cannot die. Who are the Jews? These are your children. These are your families. When your family, if everybody's doing well, guess what? There's no hatred. Why are you hating each other if you're all doing well? So we need to empower each other, to empower the generation, to empower to say even our children, as they grow up with their cousins, it's one generation, to say that they can be in spaces together. They're not going to hate each other. No, why should they hate each other? Because all their parents have understood their assignments upon each child. So when they meet, when the cousins meet, it's a Mary and an Elizabeth moment. When the friends meet, when families meet, it's that moment. So this is what I want us to do. I want us to come out, whether you're taking yourself as an Esther, whether you're taking yourself as a Hannah, whether you're taking yourself as a Mary, or any other person in the Bible. But I just put these Bible examples so that you guys can put this into practical, so that you can carry this and say, no, I'm an Esther. To say whatever that I come across, even if whatever comes to my, mothers go through a lot. If there's no food, dads can actually be like, I will see. But a mom will make a plan. This is how God is created us, to be natureless, to embrace, to love. This is how God made us. So we need to be able to know what will ignite the love in me. How can you give love when you are not loved? So we need love. Christ is love. When we have God in us, I'm going to go back again to say we are not able to do anything without God. And God is love. If we don't carry this love, even if someone comes and says, can you also take care of my kids? Guess what? You won't be able to, not because you don't want to, but because you don't carry love. Wow. And motherhood is not something you just wake up and say, right, I was born for this. Well, we are learning, and God is empowering us every day. So I just want us to go back and say, God, what is my assignment? How is my space like? And what if I'm the Esther? You are called for such a time as this. I want us to go back and pray for our children. Go back and intercede. Go back and be in spaces. When Esther said, if I perish, I perish, to say, even if I approach the king, when I'm not supposed to approach the king, even if I pray for my children about future things that I don't see, it doesn't matter. If I perish, I perish. So this is what I want us to be like. To say, whatever comes, as long as I'm just going to protect that which God gave me. As long as I'm not going to rest and say, I'm going to give up. Guess what? The moment you close your eyes and you say, I give up, the devil is not closing their eyes. They are waiting to see which mom is tired. Which mom is tired? Which girl is tired of praying for a marriage? That's it. So that marriage is not just you saying, ask yourself as well, what is my assignment? What if you are Hannah and God is saying, when you are ready, I'll give you the Samuel. If I give you Samuel here, you won't know how to take care of Samuel. So if I give you 5 kids, will you be able to? I'm not able to, but I constantly go back to God and say, what am I supposed to do? Help me. I don't have money to send them to school, but I want to send them here, where I know I can't afford, but God can afford, and God can make a way. So I want us to also carry that which my sister impacted in me, faith. I want us to go with it and say, we can open any door as long as we carry faith.
Amen.
That currency which is not physical, but the God currency. Amen. I want us to go everywhere and say, you know what? I'm called. Amen. You know what? I'm different. Amen. You know what? I have what another woman doesn't have. Yes. I'm called by God because you are. Amen. So it's a good time to have you all. Thank you.
Wasn't that powerful? Oh my gosh. She was in Form 1 when I was in lower 6. That's the age gap. So you assume, like I said, that, oh, there's this little baby, she remains a baby to you. But look at what God has done. I bet you even women in their 60s today have learned something. Oh, Lisa. Interesting story about this breakfast and parenting and being intentional. And I shared it on my personal page, and I shared it with a few of you and on the ladies' breakfast pages. I had a phone, right? Well, had and still have a phone, but it wasn't taking very good pictures, stuff was blurry. So I asked my son, and I said, no, I didn't ask actually. Kellyanne asked and said, Raymond, may we please use your phone because it had better picture quality. And so Raymond was like, yeah, you can use it, but not before this. Then he went and drafted a contract. And I kid you not, very quickly, I won't read everything, but I want to speak about raising intentional kids. As Lisa said, this phone usage agreement is made and entered into on the 6th day of May 2025 between Kutenda Creations, represented by Miss Kellyanne Borowa and Raymond Sanyanga, the legal owner of the mobile phone referenced herein. Then it goes, there quite a lot purpose. The borrower shall borrow the lender's phone strictly for the purpose of recording and take photos of content on the first Saturday of every month, and agrees not to use the phone for any other unauthorized activity. The borrower agrees to pay the lender a non-refundable fee of $5, and it's written USD, for the weekend use of the phone. This payment shall be made in full before the phone is handed. Care of device. The borrower agrees to exercise due care in handling the phone in the event of loss, theft, or damage beyond normal wear and tear. The borrower shall be fully liable for the cost of repair or replacement of the device. Then it goes on and on. The one part, so number 7, governing law. This agreement shall be governed by and construed in accordance with the laws of Mount Pleasant, Harare, Zimbabwe. And this child is 14. And so what then happened? Number 1, when we're doing whatever we are doing, our children are watching. So there are things that you're going to say, there are things that you're going to pray about, and there are things that you're going to do. I kid you not, the greatest teacher is what you do. Because when I say to my daughter Natasha, come, I'm cooking, now I'm talking to somebody, you could never say that. What they see is what you are doing. And I want to imagine that already Raymond has seen the entrepreneur in his parents, has been watching what we do, and knows there's a contract. And I had people that actually said, look, we are grown up, but we've got businesses and we're not doing contracts, right? And then the second thing, I want to speak to what Lisa spoke about, living in your purpose. The reason we were borrowing the phone was because we wanted to record the ladies' breakfast. Anybody can agree. $10, guys. With this and that, a full breakfast. Really? $10 is pizza, and you're done. But can you imagine that we've done it consistently for 7 years? Why? Because for me, it was never about making money. It was about answering a call to serve women that needed nourishment, women that were going through things, women that needed to meet other women in spaces that they would not be able to go in. I kid you not, as you sit in here and as we're quickly introducing each other, there are people that are clueless right now about what their assignment is and want to start from wherever they are, right? There are people that are thought leaders in this room. There are people that are millionaires in this room, and there are others that can barely feed their families. But what I love about the breakfast is that it brings everybody together. And so in providing this space, I was walking in my purpose. In looking for $5, none, and you're up on Facebook, we are breakfast because $5 we've got a bill to pay. But it wasn't, as I accepted Raymond's contract, God saw what happened, right? And why was I doing it? It was for something that I was doing to follow his purpose. Later in the day, I got a call from someone, and anybody that reads the message that I wrote, it was never about trying to get something. It was really about, look at what this young boy is doing, and he's supporting our purpose. I got a call from somebody who came and said, I miss your hug. I miss that warm hug. Are you at home? And I said, yes, I'm at home. So she came, and she came with her son and a house help. 2.5 years ago, they were going through something very, very difficult. And I always give, not from a place of plenty, but from a place of nothing and love.
Yeah.
If God says, do it, I will do it. And it says obedience is better than sacrifice. And when I give things that I want to get in return. So if I am washing Nelac soap, I'm not going to put geisha in someone's groceries. When I take them to them, I will give them what I would like to receive. And so I attract good gifts when people start giving me things. So this person calls, guys, I'm at a galaxy. She calls and says, okay, comes to the house and when they were going through things, I went to Cover Market. I like shopping in Cover. And they'll have these, the nyama that dances on your palate. I can't buy shoes, but food, I'll spend money. So I went to Cover, right? And so I said, okay, get some stuff. So because, when you're going through things, even your heart, your demeanor, everything that's going on with you is proposition yekuti Kanatisina right now, this is the brand. When things are well, I'm going to do this. And so naturally, because things were not going on well for her, she went and picked what she thought she would be able to afford. I said, no, you're not getting that. God had blessed me all season, yo. So I said, look, pick this. So I put stuff in her trolley, and she went home. Her house help said to my husband, Amaya vamakauya vakanamata kumba kwenu. Vakasia vachinja zvinhu mumba medu. We did have a relative to turn to because vanhu vaitiseka. You know how sometimes things go very well. And I'm talking about a person who drives a Range Rover, eh? But in that season she didn't have. Zvikanzia vakasia. But to have somebody who loved on us that much, zvikanzi saka tauya nechipo. And they gave me an S24. Wow. So Natasha, please write another contract that I will share for something else. No, but the truth, so all I'm saying, and the reason I've shared this, is I got a gift that I didn't even imagine, and God was gracious to give me that gift because I followed in my purpose. I followed in my assignment, as she was saying. And as I was following my assignment, I am also a parent who's very intentional about how they raise their children, right? So these kids are learning. So 3 things happened, and this is what Lisa spoke to. Being intentional about raising your kids, the spaces, because those are the spaces that will allow them to write these contracts, right? Because they see, they watch you. The second thing is follow your assignment. When the Bible says, seek ye first, and all, not some, all of these things will be added unto you. So as she said, what is that assignment that God has asked you to, that you're sitting on? The minute you start walking in your purpose, the universe conspires to help you, to accomplish it. And the destiny helpers will come. So don't worry if you don't have money to start that business today. Faith, again, I am a woman of faith. I raised $100,000 in 10 days for my child's bone marrow transplant. And she's there now. And so, I know what faith is. When Lisa was talking about faith, that is my currency. We went to the US, the entire family, with $500, and we got people. We sat on the bus. When, as we were getting off, a gentleman that has sat with Eddie, by the time they got off, had paid for our hotel room. We started getting, the lady, I can't tell her name, she down toilet, got off the bus too. And I wrote a book, it's called Keeping Faith and Hope Alive. Gave us money. And Aunt called it. So while I was sharing about faith being a currency on Facebook, people started sending things to us. But we got on a plane. We didn't borrow from anyone, and that's another secret. When you're going through things, don't talk to people, talk to God. Amen. And whoever God directs you to is where you go. Amen. But if he has stayed silent, he is God. He'll make it happen. Amen. And sometimes you don't necessarily have to have money handed to you. I've lived a life of faith where money is not handed to me, but things are handed to me. Like Lisa, some of my children are on scholarships now. Because I left a job at the Embassy of Canada where I worked 12 years to serve, to answer a call to serve and to be a present parent. So, Lisa, as you were speaking, you know where you're like, yes, 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 and then some. That's exactly what you did. We really, really want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and nourish us. Thank you very, very much to each lady who has come through. You're all amazing moms. Even Anna, Gabby, and Natasha, who are not moms yet, but when you're serving your little brothers, you're playing that motherly role. And I really, really hope that for those that have come in for the first time, this is not the end. This happens every first Saturday. Please join the WhatsApp groups. Kelly, over there, will assist you if you're not in a WhatsApp group. We market our wares every Friday in the group, so it's not oh my gosh, it's too busy, I cannot handle this. But also during the course of the week, if there's anything that you want, you need a lawyer, you need something, best believe there's always somebody to help you in there. So I hope you'll join our community. It's a no pressure kind of vibe. And I think that's what we would like it to remain as. Natasha, Lisa, if I can ask you to come back. So in being intentional, right, I also want us to build legacies. A lot of people, especially and I want to use the right term, in African communities we don't do it, but a lot of, European communities and they will build legacies. So you find that if somebody owns a farm, their 14-year-old child is driving the tractor. But our legacies die. But mwana wake doesn't know kuti screwdriver kana kuti tire rinochinjwa sei, but they know to drive the milk. And I've often said to my children, you will not drive the Merc. You start at the bottom, but you also know the tricks of the trade. So that if ever God were to make me rest, and He shall at some point, I can pass the baton. So I'm passing the baton now.
Well, she's taken all the words that I was planning on saying, but so I'm going to speak from what I learned. So I learned that even though the mothers, the titis, the aunts are putting in effort to mold me, I have the power to determine how my future is going to turn out, and that the people that I surround myself with also impact, how my life is going to turn out, and that I'm going to choose to surround myself in safe spaces and people who have value and give love, and yeah. And so throughout, I'm going to learn to walk with my eyes open, and that it's not finances that determine everything, that even if you don't have, faith is enough, and that, to ask myself what my assignment is, and if I'm not sure, I pray about it. And so this is and this is a gift from the Container Creations and Media Spirit Festival.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Truly humble. Wow. Wow. Really touched and humbled. This has a different meaning for me. One, I was very intentional about coming here. For a long time, I was also not okay. So when people would say, "Can you come?" I'd say, "I'm not feeling well." I remember lying, and afterwards, I really felt God saying, "You refuse to do what I asked you to do." So this comes with a different meaning to me today. It comes when I'm also saying, God, you asked me to do something, and I came. I didn't know what I was going to speak about. Honestly, it was in my phone. So everything I wanted to talk about is in that phone. I came up here holding the phone, and then without the phone, because I then realized I'm just here, I'm just a vessel. But God has things that He wants every woman to know. So this is really on my heart. Thank you. It's an award I've just received. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very, 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 very quickly. So please don't talk about your cats. We usually introduce, or the number of dogs that you have, we usually introduce ourselves so that we have a network of people that are able to assist each other. So very quickly, and just be as honest too, because you never know who might actually help you, right? So let's start here. You say your name and what you do. And you can say it in any language that you're most comfortable in. Except for French.
Hi everyone. Hi mothers. So I'm the one she was talking about when I said, and then she made me understand. My name is Dora Mabundiani. I'm a chartered accountant, a financial management strategist, and I also own this brand called Court, which means be very comfortable in who you are, but look very nice. We have merchandise outside.
Hello everyone, my name is Tarim Kondo. I'm a business owner. I have a boutique in the avenues, we are by 5 Avenue Shopping Center, and I also have another one for kids. I'm a new mom.
Hello mothers and daughters, sisters, teachers and aunties. My name is Candice Nyamuda. I'm a banker. I work at Bank ABC. I'm in risk